Good morning and welcome to another edition of Roadhouse Live. We are live. Today is August 17th, 2023. Coming off the heels of a Fed minutes to where everybody knew what they were going to say, and they done said it because they said it again 3 or 4 other times. So there we go. Now we know what they said and then said again and then said yet again. We had a nice little sell off of it after trying to pop and rally over, the little magical 44.48, 44.38, depending on what your eyeball wants to tell you. In addition to that, we get data this morning. Data this morning basically says, hey, a couple of people may be losing their jobs, but wait. Looks like materials or manufacturing index, the prices that they are paying for it is increasing at a pretty interesting clip. So that kind of negates what we could look at as being, oh no, bad data could be good for the market. But then you get bottom line, it's a freaking mess. Bottom line, we're still exactly where we were yesterday. Bottom line, nobody likes nothing. Nothing, Bender. Nobody likes it. Do you like anything, Bender?
That's a loaded question. I mean, how am I going to answer, do I like anything?
Well, you can say you
like
puppies.
That's pretty vague.
And then, you can be like, well, I do like puppies. You could say that. Then everybody
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
that's pretty open-ended question.
Bender's a nice guy. You could say that. I want to go.
I don't really like. I like to hold someone else's puppy, but I don't want a puppy. They're annoying. No, they don't. Yeah, until they eat your shit, like chew up your cords, poop on your floor, and whine all night. Yeah. Then you're like, why the hell did I get a damn puppy?
Kind of like having a teenage son.
Yeah, something like that. Actually, at this age, 15, much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
All right. So look, man, it's like we can parse through these headlines. We can look at it and be like, well, China's going to do whatever they can to keep from looking like shit. It's like, yeah, cool. Seen this story before. Everybody wants to talk about yield. We be yielding. And we can talk about that. But the reality is that at least as of flow yesterday, nobody's really setting anything up to make a strong move higher. We see some baited upside lines out to September. We do see that. There's no doubt that we see that. We also see, there might be a little bit more downside. We're also starting to see some sneaky little lines creep in on names like Apple to the downside. Creepy little lines coming in on names like maybe a Tesla. We continue to see little creepers, but right now this market and flow is solely based on momentum as far as which way we're going. So Bender, pull up that chart, show us what you got, because right now it's like you can't pull direction from flow or narrative. So help.
Sure. All right, let's get into it. This is a very zoomed in view of the daily. And I just want to show, yesterday afternoon, as we were dropping, I mentioned 4407, 4408 as being an area that I had my eye on. And the reason why was because this candle's low right here, back in, what was that, on July 10th. Watching that area, that the bottom of that candle potentially to get taken. And then the other thing you'll see, which we have talked about, is the fibs on this up move, this green shaded box marking that 50 to 61.8% retracement. So I've got a line here at the top of that marked as 50%. If we zoom in, here's a 60-minute. And right now I'm watching, so let's go to a 15-minute. this 15-minute fair value gap right here. We're kind of coming up into the top of it, and I want to see if we're able to get through that. And, you know, if that becomes support, then that sets us up for, I mean, we've left a lot of stuff behind as far as stops go. On the way down here, you can see all these little levels, like this area right here. There's a lot of stops hanging out in here, 44.66. It didn't take that previous high. So these are still there. These are still there. And as you backtrack, you know, this candle right here didn't take out these guys right up in here. So these are all still hanging out there. And then that takes you up into this fair value gap right here. So we're kind of at that point where, you know, you look at it and you go, there's a lot of liquidity that they can take pretty quickly, pretty easily. It's starting to stack, you know, on that side of the chart to the upside. We'll zoom in. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to oh, yeah, one other thing I had marked here on the daily. If we do decide to rally, there's a volume imbalance sitting right in here. I'm going to change the color of this real quick, make it a little bit more visible. There's that volume imbalance right there. So this tan box down here was a volume imbalance, and that we had marked out already. And now we have this one above on the daily. And there's another one up much higher, right? This is the one that acted as resistance before this push down. And now we have one that is acting as support. You see the bodies of these candles hanging out above here. Now, if we start to push back down and we get through this volume imbalance, this low has already been taken, right? So there's no reason to necessarily take that again. So I think a move back below here could take us into this zone in here. Probably get a bounce off the first test of this 50% retracement. That's 43, just under 4,400, so 43.97. What is it? 43.9625. So I would expect if we come down, I would expect to see a bounce there. If it breaks that, if it gives that up, then it's probably going to target these lows, 43.6825. And then potentially that 618 at 43.40. Now, if this is what it was after, taking this low, right? Then let's go back to the 15-minute. And we have, again, kind of these levels up in here. This is that volume imbalance up around 44.53. So if it fills this 15-minute fair value gap, that becomes support and it pushes up, then I'd look for it to take that candle's high and lay a candle over this volume imbalance. Honestly, if it gets through here and that becomes support, this is the first place to look, the top of this candle, 44.54 half, and then 44.6525. And if it gets above that and it doesn't immediately give it back, turn it into resistance, we're probably looking up in here, 4,500.
Very nice, very nice. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I think that
All right,
sums
Sonny.
it up. I mean, yeah.
Sonny, give us what you got, buddy.
Good morning, everyone. Upgrades, Adobe from Bank of America, I think price target to 630. Other ones are AMX, XH, HXL, ALC, and COHR. So this core had some flow the other day, COHR. Downgrades, INVH, SLG, DEN are the three that I noticed got hefty downgrades. Couple of gap ups.
Sorry, Sonny. What was the upgrade on Adobe?
Adobe upgraded because of the generative AI, so it's upgraded to buy from neutral. Price target 630.
Thank you.
And some gap ups, CHK because they're joining the S&P Midcap 400. Chegg CHGG. So has been a pretty beat up ever since ChatGPT came out, and they said, hey, it's affecting our you know business. So they authorized a 200 million share repurchase program, and JNP are moving in sympathy with Cisco earnings. So that's a nice play if Cisco keeps moving up. Moving on to the news side, so Japan exports declined for the first time in 2.5 years. So the machinery orders remain soft. China bound exports fell double digits for the second month in a row. So that was an interesting data point that came out. Uh, San Francisco Fed study, they show that U.S. households on track to exhaust excessive savings in current quarter. So, you know, people are only allowed to have certain number of savings. So they think any excess savings they had is gonna vanish.
Yeah, belongs to the Fed and banks. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
and unless you carry water for the Fed, and then you're going to be like, well, it's the consumer being irresponsible, and it's the politicians spending the monies, and but it's like
yeah.
who's
Let's
responsible?
sell first, then
Yeah,
put a policy out.
cute. I really love all these people carrying water to motherfuckers that don't. You know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's like they're talking what Brick said yesterday. You're a peasant. You're not supposed to have money. So Tesla, I had talked about this yesterday when Texas approved the Tesla charging stations as a standard. So the reason behind that was so this allows Tesla to get federal funding for installing more charging stations throughout Texas. Um, Blue Shield of California, so they have dropped CVS as a preferred um, pharmacy. They're going with companies that negotiate prices directly with the manufacturers, like Amazon and Mark Cuban's Cost Plus. So CVS saw some downside to it. I would keep an eye on that. It could see some little bit more downside based on that. So Blue Shield has roughly about 5 million people that they serve. Citi put out a note that they think that Apple stock can climb up 36% ahead of the iPhone 15 launch, which is, I think, next month, mid of next month or so. The global smartphone shipments in 2023 has dropped by about 6%. And they think, yeah, Apple's new launch of the 15, saying it has faster charging and things like that may help them. Maybe the cat.
Sonny. All right, we lost Sonny. Stonkington.
What's up? I'm here. Hello. I'm ready. I'm awake. Let's do some stuff. Let's get some charts. Let's get some things that are happening today in market land. There we go. We got a big ER tonight, and I think we know what that means. It's time. We've got Dole, the bananas, the pineapples, the fruits, and today we've got a mystifying piece of art on the docket today. There you go. That's art. That's not just fruit taped to a wall. Freeman's in at 149K.
And I think he's right because I think we all know the number.
Okay, we all know that. Easy one. All right. Well, Bateman wins. Cock to Freeman. Unless maybe, he's paying for taxes. Sold at 3. All right. Well, that was too easy. Okay, let's just look at the charts then. I put this one in the room, but this would be a good one for us to kind of talk through before I go into the marked up chart. This was another tip from Nose Whistle that he's been really diving into those ICT concepts, and it's been helpful to kind of look at how those play out. So we're looking at a monthly NASDAQ chart, and we're into this fair value gap on the monthly chart. And so we'll highlight that. And then what I learned from Mr. Nose Whistle, because that's a monthly chart, that's a big range there. So we can start to dissect that range. So if we can jump in. So if we go from this area here and we've got fibs that we can use, we can dissect it by doing, did I save this as a template? I don't know that I did. So I'll just add them. So we just dissect this into quarters. And I posted this in the room yesterday, and it actually ended up being super helpful. So that's that entire monthly fair value gap dissected into quarters. Let's make sure I line that up right. There we go. So if we dive in deeper, we can see the reactions here as we split up that monthly fair value gap. So I have these lines on the chart now. We can see overnight we went right to what would be Mr. T calls consequent encroachment, which would be the midpoint of that monthly gap. So I think these could be some good lines to have on your chart. That's that monthly fair value gap, kind of dissected there. And we also got a pretty good reaction to the 0.5 yesterday. Towards the end of the day, we got a good bounce off that. So if we I'm going to jump into the chart where I have everything marked up further. I have those fibs inside that monthly fair value gap. This is that orange box we're sitting in. And then above, we may get a support becomes resistance check coming up here at this 1521.25. If we can cross this and get back up into the, we're still kind of in this falling channel here on NASDAQ. We've got the new week opening gap here. And then we could see this fair value gap here. This is like kind of the one not balanced price area that we have above at the moment. Everything else, you can see the wicks back and forth. We kind of filled this all in. Everything's pretty balanced. One thing that is notable here, we've talked about, when stops are built up, which is basically just equal lows or equal highs, it becomes very easy to go grab stops at equal lows or highs. But in this case, when we've got, some stops here, 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 they can just start running that because there's just a lot less sitting there. And so these guys could easily get smoked. So, the snapback, who knows when it's going to be, but it'll be a lot easier. We can just start running through stops as opposed to, they know there's like a big group, so they can grab them and then do a reversal. So we'll kind of see what we get. Like this area was a pretty good example. Once like these equal stops were grabbed, we got a decent bounce, that kind of thing. So we'll see what we get. That's kind of what I'm looking at here on NASDAQ. If we take a look at the Russell, we had a daily fair value gap above, which is going to be this gold box. We ran up to it and paused. We kind of got back. We tried to get back into this falling setup, and now we were kind of back below this trend line. I have the low from yesterday marked, which actually, if we jump over to the daily, when they stalled it out yesterday, it was getting pretty close to basically this guy right here. So they just kind of brought it right down to this area, and then they paused it. And then if we jump, so I've got the low marked out there. We've got this hourly fair value gap here. So this could be a first downside target. I'll be watching for the reaction to that 1890 here. And then if we run to the upside, this daily fair value gap fills all the way up here at 1980. Individual tickers. Let's see, what do we got? We're going to keep an eye on coin. And let's see. So coin sitting on this longer term level, I had 78.2. Jump to the 4 hour. So we're just kind of going to keep an eye on that one here. Got a little bit of dark pool there on coin last night. I posted dark pools in the room. If we're going to run up, I'm going to be watching this 80.95 area. And it's kind of, again, another one that's stuck in these falling channels that's just kind of keeps falling. So we've seen this before. If we're going to drop to the downside after we lose that 78.2, the next area I'd be looking at is this 76 whole number psych level down there. And then what was the other one I was going to keep an eye on today? Let's see. I'm forgetting already. I think we were going to keep an eye on Microsoft. That's the other one. Microsoft got a big dark pool sitting above 322.23. And then below, I'll be looking at this 319.25. Again, falling setup, kind of just bouncing along this trend line on the way down. Microsoft, relative to the sell-off yesterday, held up pretty good, and that was kind of why I wanted to keep an eye on it. I think that's all I got.
That's all he's got. Sonny, are you back? You disappeared still.
Let's try.
He's back.
I'm
Hi,
back.
Sonny.
Hello. So just a couple of more pieces of news. They're talking about Apple has reached 1 billion paid users for this services. So that is the catalyst they're also using for upside to Apple coming up to the launch. And Chipotle had said they're boosting sales and labor productivity. I'll give you a chance to take a guess as to why.
Government cheese?
AI, come on.
Oh, come on, man. Well,
Come
I don't
on.
know. I really struggle to if you really want to talk about the margins between government cheese and AI, I think they're probably better with government cheese.
Yeah, but yeah, hey, they're on the AI train. They're actually the leader in the food industry in AI.
I can see that. They do a really good job, man. It's like I wish
Yeah,
your
I
food
mean,
wasn't so expensive.
it's kind of like the same as In and Out, right? Limited menu. You just keep churning that out. Good quality food.
Yeah.
No need to have 500 items on the menu.
No, it's like they do a good job.
Yeah.
Just too expensive, man.
Too expensive, yeah. And the last piece of news, ARC, we've been seeing some flow in it. So ARC, Kathy is saying, hey, we are exiting NVIDIA, cutting down. We are actually more focused on software side of the AI, not the hardware. And so their two interests are Twilio and Teladoc. I think they've been buying that up.
They've been
Teladoc
buying
has had a
Teladoc
nice
for
move.
years, and isn't she like
Yeah.
$1 trillion underwater on it?
Yeah. It had a nice move the last couple of weeks, but I doubt it holds. Twilio has been interesting. That has some nice movement. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, looks like we have a little head and shoulders building out on Q over here. Could be a bull flag, but looks like it is on the shorter time frames. Things that I'm looking at. We rejected the 377 on the 3 minute on both SPY and Q. Those areas, were very, very clean rejections. Bender gave his lines on ES. Stonk gave his lines on ES. It's like, just be aware of this area in or around 364.50 on Q, in the area 441.50 on SPY. Those areas I think are going to be very, very pivotal. You move above it and you're going to get a candle. If it does indeed get up there and rejects again, the sell can be, could hurt your butt. But we do know that flow is going to help us out. We do know that we have some of the brightest minds on the planet in this room doing these things. So we're going to do these things today. You guys have anything else?
I do not.
Nobody's got nothing. All right. We got 15 minutes to get into something. Let's have a good day, everyone. We'll see you soon.